What's up, beautiful people? Today I'm going to explain the Articles of Confederation super quickly. So remember, the Articles of Confederation unified the newly independent states. These 13 colonies were no longer colonies. They were united under the Articles of Confederation, our first national government. Remember, when the Second Continental Congress was creating the new nation, they were really worried about being or creating a government with too much power, which is what they saw England as having. So they created a central government with limited power. They had a unicameral Congress, one house, no executive branch, there's no court system, no president, there's no power to tax. This is going to be very important. And they could not regulate trade. Other challenges, you needed 9 out of 13 states to pass laws. That's a supermajority, and all states, regardless of size, had one vote. And in order to change the Articles of Confederation, you needed all 13 states to agree. As a result, after the revolution, difficulties over international trade, finances, and interstate commerce plagued the new nation. For example, under the Articles of Confederation, the country could not get its money right.
Wait till I get my money right.
Now, there are a lot of reasons why. They could not impose taxes, they could not regulate trade, as I mentioned, and individual states could impose tariffs on other states. So under the Articles of Confederation, the young nation couldn't get its money right. There was a lot of difficulties in foreign relations, foreign affairs, and in the words of the 1990s rapper, danger was everywhere. The British built forts in the West, they disrupted trade with the young nation, flooded the country with cheap British goods, and they armed Native Americans in the Northwest, and this caused conflict. The Spanish banned American shipping along the Mississippi River. Remember, they controlled all that area west of the Mississippi, and they made the U.S. know that they were in charge, and France demanded repayment of loans that they had given us during the American Revolution, and restricted trade in the West Indies. So there was all sorts of problems in foreign affairs. Add to all this, there's internal unrest in the country. As a result of this economic cloud hovering over the nation in the 1780s, you had all sorts of problems with the debt. It was increasing. Some states began levying their own duties, and this does not go over well in western part of Massachusetts. In western Massachusetts, in 1787, farmers start to organize. They start to protest taxes, debt collection, and foreclosures, and this culminates in a very important event called Sheas Rebellion. The rebellion is unable to be put down by the national government under the Articles of Confederation, so a private militia actually has to come in, and this rebellion strikes fear in many of a mobocracy, especially amongst those of the elite, people with money and property. So as a result of all these problems, this leads to calls for a stronger central government, and that's when you get eventually the Constitutional Convention in which all these people meet: George Washington, Madison, Ben Franklin, and of course that guy from the musical, Alexander Hamilton. And it's crazy how quickly things go down. 1776, we declare independence. The Articles of Confederation is ratified in 1781. We win our independence in 1783 with the Treaty of Paris. But in 1786, at the Annapolis Convention, they are actually calling for another meeting, which will become the Constitutional Convention. And in less than a decade, our first national government, the Articles of Confederation, will be replaced at the Constitutional Convention.